Cincinnati Bengals 31, San Francisco 49ers 17. The Niners have now lost 3 straight since that dominant game against the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Bengals move to 5-3 and certainly looked like vintage Joe Burrow and the Bengals even more and more. Coming off the bye, we had seen hints of it in recent weeks. This was kind of full go. Joe Burrow, Bengals offense, they're back.
Yeah, Joe Burrow, crazy game from him. This was the
stat line. You want the stat line?
Go on.
28 of 32 for 283, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Did get sacked 3 times, but 28 for 32 passing for Joe Burrow.
Right, got sacked 3 times, but also had like 40-something rushing yards and broke out of a bunch of crazy plays and made, insane things happen when he should have been dead. There was one of those like Eli Manning type, helmet catch plays where it looks like he's absolutely in the grasp and wrapped up and fights out of it. And okay, he doesn't find like a bomb down the field with a helmet catch, but finds like an open receiver to hit. That's as good as Joe Burrow has played, certainly this season and for a while. He looked pretty spectacular, and the rest of that offense looked good as well. And then Brock Purdy had a ton of turnover-worthy plays again. Now, he didn't play that badly. It's not like he played terribly previously where nothing was good and he had turnover-worthy plays. This one, he actually played okay other than the turnover-worthy plays, but there were quite a number of them again.
Yeah, I mean, odd game for the Niners. The Niners did move the ball at various points. I mean, Purdy's going to ends up with over 11 yards per attempt in this one. But yeah, there was bad pick over the middle of the field, 4 total turnover-worthy plays, 2 touchdowns or 2 actual interceptions for Purdy. A little chucking and ducking at times there. The Niners are just a little out of sync, and the Bengals, it was vintage Bengals. Vintage meaning like 2021 and 22 for multiple reasons. Good right vintage. It was Burrow looking like the guy, spreading it around to their various group of playmakers, but also who are the defensive stars. I'm repeating myself, I think, from 2 weeks ago, the game just before the bye. Who are the stars? Mike Hilton, DJ Reader, Trey Hendrickson. Hendrickson had an ankle injury, comes back, remains one of the best pass rushers in the NFL this year. But those are the guys, Reader in the run game and also pushing the pocket here. But those were the guys, Mike Hilton as this do-it-all slot corner and Hendrickson as a pass rusher. Those were the guys that had been stars for this Bengals defense, and they were the stars in this game, slowing down this 49ers offense.
Yeah, and the thing is, the 49ers actually had a bunch of plays break their way as well, and still didn't matter. Just before halftime, Irv Smith fumbles away a tight end screen down by the goal line. The Bengals were up 14-10, I think, at that point. So that could have been 21-10 heading into the halftime. Huge swing in San Francisco's direction. They made some big plays and still weren't able to overcome it, in part because, Brock Purdy kept putting the ball in harm's way.
Yeah, so that's the big one, right? It's 17-10. And so go back to last year. Brock Purdy takes over, and they start cooking, scoring a ton of points. And there was a lot of blowouts, and it was like, hey, Purdy's looking great. They have Christian McCaffrey. And my question was always, how's Purdy going to handle a little adversity? How's he going to handle making a comeback? And last year he did it a couple times. It was like, hey, I think it was against the Rams. There's a couple times in comeback situations where he did it.
Do you want a stat, though?
Yes.
Kyle Shanahan is now 0-37 when trailing by 8 or more points in the fourth quarter.
Oh, I have seen that one, yeah.
That's insane.
Now, again, I need a baseline. 8 or more. It's kind of, that's why.
I mean, it can't be 0. Whatever the baseline is, it's higher than 0.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jimmy Garoppolo's got a lot of fourth quarter comebacks, but those are within a score.
Yeah.
Those are within 8.
Yeah. 8 is not a lot in the fourth quarter.
No, I get it.
I mean, we've seen enough of those each week to know that is not an insurmountable task. To be 0-37 for a team as good as the 49ers have been for most of that time feels insane.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, from like a Brock Purdy specific standpoint, I had a couple questions about his ability last year and into early this year to come back in a must-pass situation. We have Monday Night Football against the Vikings, 2 fourth-quarter interceptions, and now 17-10 on your own 20. And this is just a bad misread, man. Was it Logan Wilson? Yeah, I mean, he just threw it right to him. I mean, great job by Wilson, passing off the deep route, and spacing looks a little off by the Niners. But down 7, like, go be Joe Montana, Brock. You're supposed to be Joe Montana. Go be Joe Montana. Make the comeback.
In front of Joe. Joe was in the building.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
That's too bad. So, yeah, like, Purdy throws it into harm's way. Logan Wilson picks it off. Bengals come back next play. Touchdown. They're up 24-10. 24-10 at the time, and that was pretty much it. That was what really sealed the deal. So that's what I think the Niners. I'm not saying Purdy can never make a comeback or anything, but that's what the Niners are going to want to avoid. And getting up early, like they have so much over the last couple of years. When they're not doing that over the last 2 weeks, it puts a lot more pressure on that pass game.
There were some wild plays in this though from Purdy. Like he averaged 11.8 yards per attempt in the game, which is a ludicrous number. 10 is extremely high. Joe Burrow averaged 8.8, and that's a very high number.
Let me just say something really quick. What's wrong with Brock Purdy? Things are going the other way. Now, 4 turnover-worthy plays for him. 2 of them were after the 2-minute warning. Game was over. But like multiple turnover-worthy play games for Brock Purdy, those have happened. It happened in Week 1 against the Steelers. He fumbled twice, recovered one of them. It happened on Thursday Night Football against the Giants. Remember his first drive, his first 2 passes should have been picked, and they weren't. And he came away. He had 0 interceptions in the stat column for weeks. And so that's why you look at turnover-worthy plays and not just interceptions. And you don't say, this guy's taking great care of the ball when he's got a ton of turnover-worthy plays. You say, hey, there's a little bit of luck involved here. Don't keep playing like that. And now the last couple of weeks, he's got interceptions because the defense is catching him. That's what's happening. And he's still making good Brock Purdy plays.
Yeah.
Right? The last 2 games, what have we seen from Brock Purdy? The same stuff we've seen for the majority of the season. Anticipation throws, a few plays outside of structure, some wide open stuff within structure, some plays that are thrown to the defense. The difference now, the defense is making the plays.
Yeah, well, yeah, a lot of the time.
Oversimplified, but that's what I'm seeing.
So he had some just crazy plays in this game, and they went the outcome of them was wildly different. So whichever interception it was, the one to Jermaine Pratt, like that's a spectacular play by Pratt. It's a weird play by the 49ers and Purdy. I think it was a busted shovel, right? It was one of those inside shovels that the Bengals seem to have covered, so Purdy didn't even attempt it. Most of the time you see, even when those plays are stuffed, they at least take the shot and they fire the shovel, and maybe the guy gets tackled immediately or even broken up. For some reason, Purdy pulled this down and then followed the sweep out to the flat and then tried to dump it over the linebacker to the guy that would have been a touchdown if he'd cleared him, except there was an illegal man downfield because I don't think the play should have ever got that far in the first place. So the whole thing was kind of weird.
I would call that, I think, an unlucky interception.
That's the thing. So that was a strange play where it's the kind of play that Purdy's been making, and he gets a little bit unlucky, and Pratt makes a spectacular catch. He then had later in the game a full replica of the Brett Favre 2009 NFC Championship interception that ended the game, where he's gets out of some chaos in the pocket, he's rolling right into open field, and then lofts a duck into the middle of the field, way back across his body, that's up in the air for a week. And in Favre's case, it was picked off by Tracy Porter, and that's basically the game. Somehow, Purdy actually completes it for a first down, and then did the same thing the next play. You're like, how is that? Where is the defense?
Yeah.
These are the picture, textbook illustration of do not do this ever.
That's actually encouraging to me, because I think what makes Mahomes' ability to do that is his geometric awareness and everything, right? The geometry. I was thinking this watching Mahomes, even in one of his not so good games yesterday. The geometry that Mahomes understands the field and knows when to throw back. The fact that Purdy actually could complete some of those, I'm actually more encouraged. I'm just going to say, sometimes I'm more encouraged by Brock Purdy, when there's some bad plays in there. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff in this game for Purdy too. Just, bad at the wrong time, again, in the fourth quarter. That does mean something,
Yeah.
But credit the Bengals, man. They look like the Super Bowl caliber team. Now, this is also the second straight week. The Niners defense got torched. They got torched on Monday Night Football by Cousins and the Vikings. So this goes both ways. Did they run into Kirk Cousins playing the best ball of his career and Joe Burrow, who is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL? I know we forget this because he's not there statistically and he's been playing hurt all year. Joe Burrow's a top 2 to 3 quarterback in the NFL. So did the Niners run into that, or are they showing massive signs of weakness on the back end after looking like they were really, really good this year? But that's been the last 2 weeks. Niners have been smoked.
I mean, I think they have some signs of weakness, but they also, like Nick Bosa had 9 pressures, like a pass rush win rate of almost 25%, and they resulted in 1 sack. And, one of those plays, he has Joe Burrow in the grasp, and Burrow gets out of it and makes something spectacular happen. Like, they had some plays there, and they just weren't able to finish them, and Burrow playing basically as good as he's ever played made them suffer for that. On the other side, Trey Hendrickson continues to have a spectacular season. He had a ton of pressure, 8 pressures, 27% pass rush win rate, pass rushing grade of over 90, and also like he got a really unlucky injury where his foot got stepped on as he's trying to rush and it rolls the ankle. So he ends up coming back in the game and made some big plays after that. But he's having an amazing season, and nobody will notice or care because he'll be like 6th or 7th in a list of edge rusher defensive player of the year candidates. But in like a random ass crappy year, he could be the defensive player of the year the way he's playing.
No, it's absolutely true. Hendrickson's balling out so far this season. Bengals move to 4-3, Niners fall to 5-3, and now second place in the NFC West.